Welcome to episode number 14 of Business and Leadership Stories. We started this 14 weeks ago, Sachin Bhandary from the Story Co. and me, Hrishi K, simply because we thought, what is the power of storytelling? Take a small business story, can it prove inspirational to be inspirational to people who listen in? And then draw out one business or leadership or communication tip or lead that one can infer from this particular story. Where will it take people? And I'm pleased to say, with all your feedback, that we seem to be headed in the right direction. A little bit about Sachin. Sachin and his partner Ranjini Subramanian are the Story Co. They help companies, startups, and professionals achieve their business goals with speed and ease. They do this via coaching, counseling, and consulting and training. He's basically a business story coach and trainer, as that's what Sachin is. How are you, my friend?
Very good, Rishi. Very good. Enjoying life in Mysore, but looking forward to jump into Bombay's madness next week.
Well, the thing is that Bill Gates has spent so much time in philanthropy now that sometimes you have to remember that he's actually a multi-billionaire person who's worked on his businesses for decades
Right.
before he hung up his boots and decided to do philanthropy. But
Right,
obviously, at every step of his life, his past has spurred him on. And today you want to talk to us about Kent Evans, Bill Gates' best friend. It's a wonderful little story here. Very poignant, very tragic at points, but definitely memorable.
That's right. That's right, Rishi. Yeah. I mean, whether Bill Gates has hung up his business boots or not, I have my doubts about that, because sometimes I feel that his philanthropy also leads into creating more business opportunities.
Yeah.
I mean, but let's leave that aside for now. Yes, like you said, it's a poignant story, slightly tragic as well. It's about the time when Bill Gates was, in college, in school, and he went to this school called Lakeside High, which apparently was one of the few schools, or probably second or third, or just the 2 or 3 schools in the United States at that point in time, which had a computer lab. So where they had an access to a computer, they could actually work on it. And Bill, of course, had taken a fascination to computers, programming, and everything that comes along with it. But there was another friend of Bill Gates who was, in his own opinion, Bill Gates' opinion, was very smart, very sharp, somebody who he called his best friend. His name was Kent Evans. And both these young people would actually exchange a lot of magazines and gadgets and have conversations like, so what do we do? Should we go on and become a part of the Forbes list of most rich people in the world? Should we go on and become CEOs? Should we go on and become international ambassadors? That's the kind of conversations they were having. When I was their age, I was probably thinking about, how do I actually go talk to that girl in Elphiston College, front of Rhythm House? So those were the kind of conversations they were having. And Bill Gates, in the documentary Inside Bill's Brain, actually confesses that if Kent would have gone on to probably co-found Bill Gates, Microsoft along with Bill Gates, not just that, he was so smart that he would have probably had a much bigger impact on the world than Bill Gates himself had. Tragically, on May 28, 1972, Kent was, went on a mountaineering expedition along with a bunch of other kids. And sadly, he actually lost his life while trying to climb the Mount Shuksan. And that's how Bill Gates lost his best friend in school. And he did mope over it for a few days, but after that, he said, now that Kent is not around, I will have to go and achieve or do all of these things on my own. And he actually did keep his promise that he made himself as a teenager, and went on to achieve unimaginable things. So that's the story, Rishi.
And it's startling that these two, Kent and Bill, were two of only 4 people who used that computer lab at Lakeside High School in Seattle, Washington. It's unbelievable.
Right.
And,
That's right.
And these are things that really tell us some very important stories, saying, what if there was no computer department or no computers at all at Lakeside? What if Kent had still been alive? Where would he be vis-a-vis the Bill Gates Foundation, Microsoft?
Right.
Would the Bill Gates Foundation be called the Gates Foundation, or would it be Gates and Evans? We don't know. And that's where you come in, my friend. The business, the leadership, communication tip that we can learn from the
From
real
this story.
life story of Kent Evans, whose life was cruelly and tragically cut short. Bill Gates.
Right. When you said that 4 people use that computer lab, the rest of the kids, I guess, Rishi, were like you and me. So they eventually ended up doing what we are doing right now, while folks like Bill Gates and Evans probably are minting money. Anyway, yeah. So um, I got to know of this story not through the Netflix documentary. I was reading this book, The Psychology of Money, very popular by Morgan Housel. Morgan Housel, while he's a finance whiz kid, he's also a fantastic storyteller and writer. So what he says is that if you look at the trajectory of these people, there was a 1 in a million chance that you would have access to computers in the 60s, which is what Bill Gates had, right? And there's also 1 in a million chance that someone would die of a mountaineering accident, and that's what happened to Evans. So no matter how we think of things about our own achievement and all of these things, Bill Gates, rightly so, credits his alma mater that he got access to the beautiful and powerful thing called computers way ahead of other people. And that's how he was able to build his life and have the impact that he did. So sometimes luck plays an important role. But what my communication tip from this particular story and what Morgan Housel actually does by looking at this story and narrating it in his style is that if you want to make a point, sometimes you have to look at connections and contrasts, right? We all have a lot of information, stories, anecdotes that we have access to. But can we take one? So it's a bit like Sita and Geeta in the movies, right? That you take one person, narrate his story, and in contrast, narrate someone else's story to be able to make a point. So here he talks about 2 people who were together. One had access to computers, which was a 1 in a million chance, and Evans, who also had access to computers but died of a mountaineering accident, which is a 1 in a million chance, to be able to make the point about luck in his in Morgan Housel's case. So sometimes if you are able to take 2 different examples, contrast them together and make a point, it actually stays longer with the audience. This could be used in presentations, in talks, in conversations with your team members, to inspire them, all of these things. I mean, a lot of applications. Yeah.
Win with Stories is Sachin Bhandari's newsletter that's available on LinkedIn. Please go read it, follow him, reach out to him, share it with your friends. And if you want him to come to your organization and deliver a talk and do these wonderful storytelling sessions and motivate your staff, any department, feel free to reach out. What are your coordinates, Sachin?
Hey, thanks, Rishi. Thanks for this. I write 5 days on LinkedIn, communication storytelling tips, and sometimes I share a short story with an interesting message. So you can access all of that if you go to my LinkedIn profile. You can look me up by searching Sachin Bhandary. Sachin is easy. Bhandary is Bhandary, not I. And on my profile, you will see a link which says get in touch or stay in touch. Click that. You can access my or subscribe to my newsletter, but you can also book my time if you'd like to have a chat about something.
Let's speak next week. Bye-bye.
Look forward, Rishi. Thanks. Bye.
94.3 Radio 1.